Hi, Dr. Becca here. I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about anxiety in kids or adults. Sometimes we might see kids or adults who are engaging in what we would consider maladaptive behavior or behavior that we don't want to see more of. It could be things like aggression, either it's physical aggression or verbal aggression or property destruction, right? Which could be throwing books, tearing up papers, and we think they must be mad. Maybe. Anger is kind of like an iceberg, and sort of that little piece you can see on top is not really what's happening. It's not the dangerous part, right? If you think about the Titanic, right? It didn't hit that piece on top. It's all of that ice underneath that can cause the damage. And anxiety is sort of that big piece of ice underneath. We don't see it, and it's dangerous, right? Dangerous. It could be having the impact. So it could be that the person is angry. It also could be that they're anxious. Because when we're anxious, our brain tells our body that we might not be safe. And if we're not safe, we kind of go into a couple different behavior categories, right? We can fight, we can flight, we can freeze. And these are different ways that we respond when we're afraid or anxious. You might be thinking, well, there's nothing scary happening. That's kind of the tough part about anxiety, is our brain is telling us that we're in danger when we're not. We're not really in danger. It feels real. But logically, we're not in danger. We're not actually going to die. But that's the story that our mind is telling us, that we're in danger and that we need to act to save ourselves. And so people will oftentimes fight, flight, or freeze. And so if you see somebody who's upset, and they're having a big meltdown, or they're angry, or they're yelling, or they're throwing things, it could be that underneath that they're actually afraid. And so when we can lean in or respond to that person like they might actually be afraid, and respond by trying to remind them that they're safe in this moment, or name it to tame it, right? Dr. Dan Siegel say, I wonder if you're feeling worried, or you look nervous. We may get a better response than telling them to calm down or responding to them like they're angry. Because under that anger iceberg could be fear, anxiety, embarrassment, right? These less comfortable feelings, and yet they're very much there and impacting what we do. But those feelings are related to oftentimes being vulnerable. And it's scary to be vulnerable because that means somebody could hurt us. And so a lot of times we respond in this anger behaviors, or with these angry behaviors, to cover up the fact that we're feeling anxious or hurt or scared or embarrassed or lonely, or any of these other behaviors or any of these other feelings that are more vulnerable than anger. And so when we see somebody who is angry, right, they look mad, we might want to think about that anger iceberg and what could possibly be under that. And it doesn't mean that you have to agree, but that's the thing about feelings. They're real for the person experiencing them. So even though I'm in this room and I'm safe, if I heard a noise, I might think I'm in danger. And this comes from our learning history. So maybe I've been attacked before, or I've been in an unsafe situation before. And so my mind says, oh, Dr. Becca, remember that time that happened. You have to be ready for it this time. Or in the case of an anxiety disorder, that's the way our brain perceives the world, right? Our brain is conditioned to look for patterns. And so if we have an anxiety disorder, we are often anxious all the time, even when there's not a realistic or a logical cause. So any sound my brain interprets as a possible threat. That can be confusing for those around me, because maybe they're saying, well, why would Becca react that way? Because she's safe. Yes, and my brain does not know that. The story my brain is telling me is that I'm in danger, or I could be in danger, and that I need to act to keep myself safe. So again, this short video was meant to kind of introduce the idea of that anger iceberg, that there's things under that, and also that a lot of times what's under that are feelings that are more vulnerable. So anxiety, worry, nervousness, fear, embarrassment, loneliness. And that when we speak to those underlying feelings, we can often get further with the individual and help them. It's also the idea that anxiety tells us that we are not safe, even when we are. And so we may behave in a way that you would expect from somebody who was being attacked by a lion or another person, and that's not actually happening in the room, but it feels like it is for that person. It feels real. I hope this is helpful. Have a great day.